start the timer this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, when you're ready.
Ready. Okay. Hold this back up. Welcome. Okay. Welcome to the Start to Be Great podcast. I'm your co-host, Kimmy.
And I'm Anna. And if you're anything like us and you're sick of using fear as an excuse to not truly live your life, then you're in the right spot. We're here to tell you that you do not have to be great to start, but you do have to
start to be great. So today we're discussing holidays, and we are talking about who you choose to spend the holidays with and how that makes you feel.
Yep, Halloween is officially over, and Kimmy and I are rocking out to some Mariah Carey already. Mm-hmm. No judges. We love it.
Yes.
We love Christmas music. Don't at us.
And we don't care.
Yeah, we don't care. So how does it make you feel thinking about what's coming up?
I'm a holiday bitch, man. I love the second half of the year because my birthday's in the second half of the year, and then you got Halloween, and then you got Thanksgiving, and then you got, I missed Veterans Day in there. You got all sorts of holidays that come in, and it's just it's always something to look forward to, and there's always something that's next, and I always love what's next.
Yeah, there's a lot of back to back to back.
Yeah, I love it.
I like it. I'm the same way. I love the colder weather. I love Christmas is my hands down favorite holiday. Something about the lights and just the spirit of Christmas is very alive in me, and it makes me feel good, no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's just so much to do. Like, I got a newsletter the other day or email that said I can volunteer to do the horse and carriage through the square, and I was like, yeah, because horse and who doesn't want to do that?
Oh yeah.
There's just like, but like, there's just so many. You can go look at lights, you can go to dinner, you can go to friends' houses and build gingerbread houses.
Yeah.
Or there's just meaningless.
There's endless excuses for activities.
Yes.
But at the same time, that can be overwhelming. So if you look at it from the other side, it can be very, very overwhelming.
That's true. I come from a very small family, and it has pros and cons, I guess. Pro being I've never had to do like the multiple crazy, bounce, dinner or events. But a con is like there's not like a lot of traditions in my family. There's not like this thing that we always go do, and I tend to hang out more with friends because I come from that background.
Yeah, I come from a small family too, but it's kind of I have a bit of a split family. So I always spent, Christmas Eve with my dad, and then Christmas with my mom, and then we would go see a family member, that kind of thing. It was a lot of coordination in my family, is making sure that we saw all the people we were, supposed to see around the holidays. And like that's just for Christmas, but like with Thanksgiving, you took turns, like this year we're at that person, and this year you're at that person, and it's like, last year we're here, so dang, we got to go here this year. Like it was a lot of like feeling FOMO. It was a lot of feeling of missing out because you were happy to go to one, but it's always like, well, what are you going to do at the other? Like it was a lot of choices.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my parents were divorced, so it was a rotating holiday type thing, and it definitely. It's hard to have one that you like more than the other, because then you're like, I don't want to go, but as a kid, like, you have to, right? But it's weird. It's definitely more fun for me than it is stress. But I know a lot of people get really worked up. Yeah. And they're like dreading it. There's so many things that people dread.
Yeah. I'm with you in the excitement though. What are you most excited for coming this year?
So this is our second Christmas in Texas, and last year we moved in April, and we didn't really know anybody, and so we didn't really do a lot of stuff for the holidays. So this year is going to be different. I know a lot more people, and we're more settled, and so I am really excited because I want to do a family Christmas card. And for the first time ever, we're going to do a newsletter too, which was your idea, and I like it. I mean, I've seen it before, obviously, but what a perfect way to, one, remember the year, and two, just to kind of create a tradition. Yeah. So that I'm excited for. I bought my first Elf on a Shelf.
Yeah.
the other day, which I don't know, like I didn't grow up with it, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna like doing it, but
Yeah.
I'm down to try it. If anyone's got ideas, feel free to send them over.
I love watching the ones on Instagram and Pinterest that are like, they're like being very hostile towards the elves. You know, like you see one, like they'll do the, you know, the train around the tree, and they'll like tie the elf up like it's like on the train
Oh my
tracks.
God.
Stuff like that. It's really funny. I
I've
mean,
only
if
seen
you
the
got
naughty
if you
ones.
got warped minds, I enjoy it. But I wanted to jump back. You talked about the newsletter, and people might not know what that is, so I want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that my family does a lot. With my extended family, I don't get to talk to them a lot, but they all send Christmas cards, and me vice versa. And what we do is we write up like, you know, just like kind of like a recap of the year, and we talk about what we're excited for the next year. And so when you receive not only your Christmas card, so it's really like exciting, and you're like, oh, they thought about me, but then that you get to hear what they did throughout the year, and it's kind of like a, you know, snail mail Facebook. You know, it's like if you missed the highlights, here they are. And
not everyone gets on Facebook.
Yeah, same. I love them. I really love the letters. So
you know what I just thought about? That might actually be really good to send it early enough pre-Christmas that when you actually go meet these people that you're having dinner with, they've already read your newsletter, and they're not going to ask you about like, you know, that old job that you had that you got fired from, or like the boyfriend that dumped you, or like the thing that you no longer enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, it could save a lot of awkward conversations, because you're like, don't talk to me about this.
It's a good point. It's a real good point.
Because I've never had it. Like, I've always watched the movies, but man, like, it kills me that the family members ask like really weird questions.
Oh, mine love
holidays.
it. I think they get together before I get there. And they're like, what are we going to harass Kimmy about this year? Like, they plan it. They're like, what's uncomfortable? Relationship status. Let's bring that up.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about all of the goals that she had set. Let's ask her if she accomplished them.
Right.
Specifically the ones that she's avoiding.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, for example, hopefully this doesn't bother you to bring up, but like, you had plans to go to college for something totally different this year, and you've made that decision that you no longer have that desire to go.
Yeah.
And so parents would be like, oh, why aren't you doing this? But you're like, this is a good thing.
This is amazing. I'm so happy that I caught this before I spent lots and lots of money to go.
Seriously. And so, but, you know, you still don't want to hear them ask about it, because you know what? There's that sense of disappointment in their voice. They're like, oh, you know, or they're like, oh, you did?
That's fine. Be disappointed in me, because I'm disappointed in you for not keeping up with me. Like, if you wanted to know my life that much and you want to give me disappointment, like if we're that close that you're disappointed in me and my decisions, then I'm disappointed in you for not keeping up with me.
Yeah.
Like, if you're waiting till the holidays to catch up with me, then I don't want to hear the judgment.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to accept my little bullet list of what I've done.
There's always one family member. I have one uncle that he's the worst. He just wants to like guilt trip me every time. I'm like, I don't even know you, man. Well, he's a once a year kind of guy. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, for no reason, just want to call me out. So frustrating. Which is why I tend to spend a lot of time with friends that are now like my family. Yeah. Like a couple years ago, I was invited. Well, I've worked in healthcare for the last 7 years. So oftentimes as a like person at the kind of bottom of the totem pole, so to speak, I would work on holidays. You know, because they rotate you every other year or something. But so I'd work holidays, and it didn't bother me. But the ones I had off, I was like, oh shoot, I don't got nothing to do. Yeah. And so I've been invited into many friends' homes, and I'm so grateful that they did that, because otherwise, I mean, it can get depressing. Like, let's be real. Whether you go to your family's house or whether you don't, holidays get people sad. Because you have this built-up anticipation for what you expect, you know, like, or you're not that you should, but like it's easy to compare like what other people are doing on their holidays. So same as you, I worked at an emergency animal hospital for 3 years, and you were expected to work on the holidays, because that's when you're the busiest. Yeah. That's when, you know, you have relatives coming in, and even though your dog's been throwing up for the last 6 months and puking blood, you're like, people are like, oh, I don't think your dog's supposed to do that. And they're like, oh, it started today, let's take him to the ER. And it's like, no,
bitch. They fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've missed many holidays, and luckily, my mom has come to see me and spent just Thanksgiving with me. Like missed her Thanksgiving just so I wasn't alone on Thanksgiving,
Oh.
stuff like that. And like people have been friends have invited me in, people have invited me in. It's really really awesome to like share the actual like sentiment of the holiday.
Yeah, and one of the holidays that we didn't mention is the Marine Corps birthday, which is on the 10th of November, if you don't know. It's the day before Veterans Day, and for Marines, it's huge. But I don't normally I'm not a host of like a big Thanksgiving meal or go to one, but on the Marine Corps birthday, what I try and do is if I know Marines that are not doing anything that day, I try and invite them out. I'll be like, hey, do you want to come over and hang out and have a drink with me, or like let's go out and hang out with other Marines. And I try and make them feel included and like just like they belong somewhere.
Yeah.
Because that day can be hard if you're alone, same as Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, that's a day of service in my mind, because my grandfather was a Marine and he always like loved the Marine Corps birthday.
Oh yeah.
And so we always did stuff, with him on years that we could coordinate. But even like after he's passed, like I still every year on the Marine Corps birthday, I find somewhere to do and help out. Like even if it's selling poppies with them, that kind of thing. I usually have something planned for that day. I really really love that day.
Yeah, it's a good one. Most Marines care more about their own birthday. For a while I was doing a Friendsgiving. I'm a big Friends TV show fan. And so I did a Friendsgiving because I always loved, like, all those people on there, like, they all had families, but they chose to be with their friends.
Yeah.
And sure, they, like, argued, like, I mean, at that point, they basically are family, but they're friends first. And I think that that's the difference between family and friends. It's family is family first, friends second usually. And I just I want to spend time with people that make me feel good.
Yeah.
And happy.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that when we were talking about this, because you and I were getting hyped for Christmas, and
November 1st, one leaf on the ground.
Like 2 weeks ago when we were like, ooh, I can wear a sweater. Let's talk about the holidays.
Yes.
So I was just like, I want to let people know, I want to give permission to people to make their own choices. And, I want to tell people that you don't have to feel obligated to spend time with people that make you feel miserable. So if that's your family members, that's just my point of view. But why are you spending all the year by yourself without these people in your life, and then you allow them into your heart, like during what should be a happy time of year, with your closest family, and it causes tension and anxiety and stress, and it's just, no, you don't have to.
Yeah, I think you should get to pick who you want to spend the holidays with and not be pressured into seeing people just because that's obligation. Because why would you want, like you were saying this earlier, you were like, I don't want somebody in my house that doesn't want to be there.
Oh yeah.
So why would you go to somebody's house and you don't want to be there?
It's so hard. Like, everybody thinks that their family's the worst, right? And
I don't know about that.
Seriously.
Really?
Every time I talk to someone, they're like, oh my god, my family's terrible. I'm like, everyone says that about their family. But families are hard. You have an open door policy. You can't just like invite your favorites over because that's messed up. But at the same time, like, you can understand and appreciate that, like, when your grown adult kids grow up and have their new family, that they don't necessarily need to come to your house.
Yeah. Like,
maybe you do a dinner privately with them or something later without all of the stress or something,
I think that's really hard to recognize that traditions are changing. Like, that's a little bit of my family right now. I have two older brothers, and we do an awesome job usually of coordinating schedules to make it work to where we can all meet for at least one day. Like, it may not be on the day of, but it may be. But my brother and sister-in-law just had a baby last December, and she had it in December, so she was feeling with just giving birth, and so they stayed home.
Yeah.
that year. But now, he's a year older now, so now we're getting together and being like, how are we gonna make this work? Because you got your own family, and now we got the extended family, and so I'm just I'm a lone wolf right now, so I just go where I need to be. But like if I had like a full family that I had to coordinate, like if I was trying to have traditions with my little family, but
Yeah.
also be like, okay, well I have my parents, and now I'm married to you, and you have your parents, but you have two
Mm-hmm.
sets of parents, and but what about grandparents and great grandparents? Some people are obligated to go to multiple
Yeah.
family gatherings, and how do you like the stress of coordinating that alone is enough to make somebody's head explode. It's like,
Have you seen that movie Four Christmases?
no, I haven't.
Oh man, we're gonna watch it.
Okay.
It's basically like I don't remember the actors' names, but they're married and both of their parents are divorced.
Mhm.
So they literally in like one weekend, mostly on Christmas, but they go to all four of them, and they all four have like their crazy dynamic of like stress and like and so they're just getting more and more angry and upset like as it goes on, and then they end up taking out on each other, and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
like,
This is supposed to be happy.
right.
Yeah.
And to a degree, it's like, I think about like if you have a kid, you would love for them to grow up and come to see you around the holidays. Like that's the ideal. But also, can you make it a pleasant space for them to come? Like make it easy for people to come visit you. Make it so that it like works with their schedule. Like no stress attached to it. Like I think people need to like have some consideration for that.
Definitely.
It's not just black and white, like, oh, it's your family, you better show up. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I got a life, like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work for me
And
this
these
year.
people that are in my life supporting me every single day, I also want to see them on a happy day,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to balance. But if we are talking about going to these family events, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So say you're at these gatherings. What are you doing that's deliberately to impress others? Like you're at these gatherings. Like what are you doing? Because I know my own. Like I have two very, very successful brothers.
Yeah.
And they have, wife and children, and they have amazing jobs, and they're amazing people. And then I walk in and I'm like, "What's up, guys? Still don't know what I'm doing," that kind of thing. And it's hard. Like I don't think my family's, judging me per se, but they're judging me. Like I'm like, like I've changed my mind a bunch of times, but I've also done some really cool shit. Like, and I think that I'm constantly like bettering myself as a human. And so each time they see me, they don't see me that often, and so when they do see me, they have all these questions for me, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's so different than last year." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
And you're talking about like your extended
family.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like extended family that I don't see that often. It's easy to compare me against my brother and be like, "What the fuck is she doing?" But it's like we have completely different lives, and you can't compare. But it is when I'm deliberately trying to impress people, I'm like, before I'm there, I'm like, okay, they're gonna ask me about this, and I'm gonna counter with this, and like I am doing shit. Like I get stressed out, man.
Like plotting it out.
Yeah, because it's like I feel like I'm on the defense before I even walk in. I feel like I am like, all right, what's my elevator speech? What's my like, do you want to see my resume type shit? Like sometimes like it's like really hard for me to just be at these places. Like I'm constantly on edge trying to look my best, like put on a part of this is Kimmy at her best, a play, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I don't like it.
No.
That doesn't sound fun.
I mean, I'm
Yes.
I'm exaggerating right now, but yeah, it is stress. That
I mean, the
goes
holidays
to
are
that.
they're still the thing.
Yeah.
But I honestly, there was one Christmas when I was active duty, and I got banned from my grandma's house.
Oh.
I came in and I paid $800 round trip as like a Lance Corporal, making no money basically, from North Carolina to Seattle. And it's like 19, 18 years old. And she thought I showed up just for presents. I was like, I just flew across the country to hang out with you guys and have dinner. And you're banning me from coming back because you think I care about your $20 Barnes & Noble gift card? And I'm like, you are crazy. They literally banned me. And I'm like, what the heck? It was really weird. I've had, like, those kind of situations, but I've never had to like impress anybody. I feel like I am probably one of the most successful people in my family. That's not a brag. That's just saying I don't come from much, you know. And so I've always had other issues. Like my family likes to drink, and so drinking and fighting is my thing. We might be Irish.
I've had a fair share of that as well.
Yeah. Yep. So, you know, I probably wear like fancier clothes and pretend like I'm, you know, I mean, I like to dress up anyway, but definitely don't wear that stuff going out with friends.
I got you. I just think it's more, I don't know about everybody's Christmases or holidays, but a lot of times you bring out your nicest stuff, you know, like you're eating on china, you know, that kind of stuff, or like actual plates, whereas, you know, like other places, you know, it's like paper plates on a normal day, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And some people's Thanksgivings, I've gone to a bunch of Thanksgivings that weren't my family's, and they were a lot more chill, like watching football and like it was more of like eat in front of the TV type stuff, and I was like, this is so like it's crazy to think about how like the wide range. So like it may be completely different for other people, but like some Christmases I've gone to, I've been in like full on like formal wear, and then some Christmases I've gone to, we wear foodie pajamas, you know, like it's like that's what I'm saying. It's
I like that one.
I like that one too. That one was a lot of fun.
That one sounds cool.
But that's when I stopped like expecting so much from myself.
What if there was a different theme every year?
We should. Man, I vote Harry Potter Christmas.
Okay. But yeah, you stopped expecting much from yourself.
Yeah, and so I just started to have a bit more fun with it. I started going to like my best friend's Christmases or my boyfriend at the time's Christmases, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is like really, really fun, you know, like I'm going to continue to do things that feel fun on this time and worry less about like the stressful parts.
Yeah. I like to go to Christmas parties around the holidays, but I don't necessarily like to do Christmas with a lot of people, like the actual day.
Yeah.
I want my closest people, and that's about it. But like, there was this guy in my old gym, Orange Frank. Oh my god, I loved him. I'm gonna beat you. Sorry, my dog is just whining. Orange Frank, he wore orange all the time. Retired old guy, and he was so cute. And him and his wife did a Christmas party, and he dressed up like Santa, of course. But like, you know, people from the gym went, and it was just like, I was like, man, that's a fun. And they do it every year.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just a fun time, like beautiful home, like decorations, just music, drinks, and everyone kind of brings an hors d'oeuvre, and it was just fun. Yeah. And I'm like, I like to do that before and around, but on actual Christmas and Thanksgiving, I just want just a few. Yeah. I just want to be with people that mean the most. That's just my.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Especially like, dude, right now, like prices for everything.
Oh yeah.
Is going up.
That's more stress.
One of my so like driving or flying to see, you know, so I felt alone a lot of holidays because I've lived out of my home state for almost, actually now at this point in my adult years, I've lived out of my home state more years than I did in my state. So yeah, I was never around, so that's why I did a lot of friend stuff. But you know, people that are wanting to buy like gifts for everyone, or just commute and travel to everyone's thing. If you have to prepare food for everyone's party and stuff, like there's a lot that goes into it. I think some of it's mindset. Yeah. Like if you choose to let it be more stressful, then it's going to be stressful. But
I think it's just like holidays are kind of more commercialized nowadays, and there's an expectation for that kind, you know, like for bringing stuff and for giving gifts and for just spending a lot of money around the holidays. Like to the point where people are going into debt. I got an email from my apartment complex the other day, and it was like prepare for the holidays, and it was giving like a type of credit plan for your rent, so that you were spending less on rent now, so that you could buy Christmas stuff.
Oh my god!
And I was just like, I literally was like, what the fuck?
They're like, encouraging people to buy presents instead of paying rent?
Yeah, they were giving like a way out of paying rent for the next few months, which I guess is awesome if like that's like kind of what you like, if you need that option, like having it's great, but like just it was so like in my brain I was like, holy fuck, like are people like going into debt for the holidays to
Probably.
to keep up appearances.
Wonder how much interest they're charging on that back rent.
I don't even want to know. Like, but I mean, I'm glad that the options there if you need it, but like, I really hope that you don't need it.
I mean, if you're in that position, I would recommend going from a bank, not like a not an apartment complex, or compare the prices on that.
But they have like so many different.
Nuts.
They have like with the commercialized mindset, they have like layaway. They have like you know like the kind of stuff to like get you like to start spending money earlier to make the holidays less rough, you know, financially. And I'm just like, well, how about we just spend a little less money, maybe, you know, like it's like that's awesome. That's awesome that you know people that they have those options for people that plan and it makes it easier. That's awesome. And I know that you can't, you know, like for kids and stuff, like it's harder to, you know, be like, hey, it's gonna be a smaller Christmas this year type thing. It's hard to explain that, but just I don't know. It's hard to think that you know people are so stressed around the holidays and it's a lot financial.
Yeah. So I come from a family. So I was raised, me and my sisters, by a single mom, and she literally worked every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, like all the time. Like sometimes we would go to the hotel. She was a restaurant manager, and we'd go in the hotel to sit at a table basically while she was working, so they would feed us. And but she was one of those people that I mean, she bounced credit cards in order to spoil us for Christmas. And now thinking back, I'm like, man, I would have much rather her taken Christmas Day off. You know, because as a kid, you're like, oh, yay, like all the presents, you count up how many you got under the tree, and you know. She did great, but like looking back, it's like I didn't care about that stuff. Like I don't have any of that stuff still. You know, it's like I would have much preferred to have the memories of hanging out with my mom on Christmas.
Yeah.
So if people could remember that, that would be nice. I need to remember that myself.
Yeah.
I'm a more of an experience kind of person.
Oh, me too. Big. I love presents that are like activity based.
Yeah, or like, hey, we did this together and I thought of you, or something, or like this suits your personality, but it's like not like a big expensive thing.
You like sentimental.
I do.
Yeah.
I like sentimental and practical.
Yeah, that's your personality.
Yeah, I know, I'm kind of boring. I need forks. Dude, my kid, like, I don't know where all the forks are. She loses forks.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even want to know. When we move out of this house, I'm gonna find forks. I would guarantee it.
But where?
I don't know. I pulled her bed back the other day and there was a bunch of junk, but no forks. She's a slum.
No forks.
They're in there somewhere. I tell you. Yeah, you know, I think that it's important to kind of recognize that you just don't have to do it.
The reason for the season, right? They always say that. It's like remember the reason for the season. And it's just be with people and to be a good human and to spread love and kindness. It doesn't have to be
favorite word.
Yes. Kindness.
Yeah. I mean, that's really like most of what we wanted to talk about. We kind of just wanted to keep this like short and sweet and simple. You know, we have a couple other questions I know we're going to finish out with, but I just want to reiterate, like, you get to choose who you spend your time with. Yeah. And think about that when you're setting traditions with your own family. Like, if you come from a family that's toxic, like, why do you want to carry that on?
Yeah.
You know, you can make time to see your parents separately if you need to. You can make any kind of arrangements you want. You don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah, and I just don't like. We even looked up the definition of the word obligation before we started, and it's an act or course of action that a person is legally bound, a commitment. And it's like that is rough. Like that. Like if you feel obligated to go to certain events or obligated to see certain people, just think about like how much pressure that is. How like. Legally bound. You are not legally bound to see anybody.
Yeah.
Like if you should want to see them if you're seeing them. And I get that it's different. We have different family dynamics, you know, especially relationships involving kids. Like I get that it's different. There's a lot of times when you sacrifice for your kids and for you know other people in your life. Like you're gonna you know sacrifice to see certain people. You know, like I want to see my brother, so I have to see this person. You know, that kind of thing. Like it would be.
But just because it's the way that it's been done for so long doesn't mean you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like if you can come up with a creative solution to see the people that you love, but also just spend time with the right people that will make you and your family happy.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean family, I mean like your partner, your kid, like your immediate.
Yeah.
Then do that.
But if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to go, you're obligated to go to these certain groups, there's things that you can do to make it a little bit better. Like recognizing one thing that I like find is that I prepare myself before I go in. Like I'm a naturally optimistic person, and so I like to be like, oh, it's gonna be great. But like realistically, I know you're probably gonna bring up shit that's gonna piss me the fuck off. You're probably gonna say something. I'm gonna be on edge, and so rather than just going in blindly optimistic, which is what I do with my normal life, I go in not with hesitancy, but with preparedness.
Yeah.
I go in knowing you're probably going to say something, or you're going to ask me something, or we're going to, you know, there's going to be something that makes me uncomfortable, and so I come prepared.
Okay.
I also like to bring a notebook or in my phone. I know this is weird. You know, we didn't even talk about this. I will write down things that I want to say, things that I want to say, or things that you bring up, and I write down everything that I want to say in the notebook. I do.
There you go.
It's rough. I normally do it in my phone, like shit that I would want to say, and it helps me just to get it out, because if you just sit there and you bottle it up and you bottle it up and you bottle it up and you bottle it up, eventually you're throwing turkey at the person, and you're like, oh well, I fucked up Thanksgiving again. See ya, and you walk out. You know, that kind of thing. It's like to just come in with the plan. You know.
I like it. Like a couple things that I'm thinking of. Set a curfew, like a time frame. That
boundaries.
Have some boundaries. Like, hey, I know this isn't going to be like a great night because it normally isn't ever. I'm going to leave at this time, and maybe you even tell them in advance, like, hey, I got to leave at this time.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it's like, all right, it's my time. And if you decide you want to stay, like if it's going well, you can stay later if you want.
Yeah.
Or you can just let it lie. Also, maybe avoiding alcohol would be good.
Yeah. Or like if you are actively in like a disagreement with somebody, like. Just don't bring it up at the event. Like recognize that there's going to be a source of tension, and recognize that there's a time and place to talk about it, and maybe not make the whole night awkward.
You know, one of the things that we talked about when we first started doing this podcast was that this discussion thing that we do every week is a great source of venting, and it's a great way to just get things off your chest. And so maybe what you need to do before going to an event, that like if you're just like, I can't get out of this, or I have to go, if that's how you feel, maybe talking about it out loud, either with yourself honestly or with someone else
that you trust
that's not going, could be helpful, because then it's not, like you said, bottled up.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're looking at you over a turkey and they just want to ask you all the questions that you absolutely don't want to answer.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, those are some things that I have done in the past, and just, you know, tips, like if you have to just grind through it, make it like as best for yourself as you can.
Yeah, boundaries. So many people don't have boundaries, and they just show up at people's mercy and, you know, just dread the whole time. I'm not one of those people.
No.
I'm probably on the other spectrum, whereas like I just won't go if I don't want to go.
See, I'm on the opposite end of you, as I will go regardless of how it makes me feel.
Yeah, and you know, neither one is better than the other.
No.
But you know, I've had to kind of reel it back in. But I have more strict boundaries, whereas someone like you, when we've talked about this before, you have very lenient, loosey-goosey boundaries.
My boundary gate is made of floss.
Oh my God.
Like, it's like, I'm working on it though. I'm actively working on it, and like I think this year it's going to be a little different for me.
That's good. I mean, as long as you every year get a little better and you know, realize that. So one thing you said earlier was that you were kind of, I don't know if you used the word disappointed, when someone gives you disappointment, and you're like, well, I'm disappointed that you haven't paid attention to my life, and up until this one day, and then you want to give me crap. It's like, you have changed, so maybe some other people have changed as well. and keeping that in mind as well, like a little bit of optimism along with your notebook might be good as you go into the season.
But yeah, there's a lot of we got kind of negative there for a second. There is lots of stuff that I am looking forward to. A lot of positive things that I am looking forward to, and there's a lot of family traditions that I am excited to partake in this year.
What's your favorite one?
So, all right. So this is gonna sound weird. I already told you about this. I have a little Santa Claus. I have a little Santa Claus. It's a little porcelain statue that my grandma painted, or my grandma's mom. I don't know. Somebody in my family that in the past has painted this Santa, and it sat in our house growing up. It was in our house. I put it up every year, and it went like in like the forefront on either the mantle or like the middle of the dining room table or somewhere like central to the house. And my mom would tell me that that little Santa was watching because it came out when we put the Halloween or the holiday stuff up. So I had to wait till after Thanksgiving at home. All that shit's up right now. Like, I'm an adult. I get to pick when Christmas comes up, and it's up type shit. But when in the past, it's after Thanksgiving with my family, and so as soon as that Santa was up, he was watching. But his eyes were closed. It's a sleeping Santa in a chair. It's the little statue, and so his eyes are closed. And so what Chris, my brother, and I would do growing up was we would have to catch Santa looking at you. Like it was like a total fake out. Like you would be looking away, and you'd be like, you know, like do like super like a quick cut to catch him slipping type shit. And so I put that Santa out, and I still find myself as a 26-year-old human trying to catch this stupid Santa watching me. And it's not creepy. Like it's now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like creepy, but like it's not creepy at all. I just really want to catch the statue with the eyes open.
I like it.
So you have Elf on the Shelf, and I love that for you because like that's supposed to be watching.
Same concept,
right?
Yeah.
But I have this little porcelain Santa, and I will catch him this year.
I feel like I need to. I'm a like psycho planner. I feel like if I don't, what are you supposed to start on like the first day of December?
Like an advent calendar?
No, well, no. I'm like the Elf on the Shelf. Don't you do it like all month for Christmas?
I've never had Elf on the Shelf. So
well, it came with a book. I'm assuming that's instructions. I'll Google it later, but I feel like I need to like write down like how I want to have them posed and where.
I have so many ideas for you.
Okay, good. Because if I don't have it like pre-planned out, I'm gonna wake up and I'm not gonna do it. Like I'll just leave him.
See, mine are gonna be like inappropriate, like not inappropriate, but like.
Yeah, there's a kid in the house here, man.
Well, it's not bad, but it would be like I would have him like what looked like lots of candy wrappers, and then like him like puking into the like sink or something, that kind of thing.
I'm okay with that.
Like that kind of stuff. Like it's not like why would you do that? But it's like that's the kind of stuff I would do.
Yeah.
It's like let's see like how like stupid we can put this elf in, you know, that kind of thing.
My goal is to make her laugh every day she sees it.
Yes.
So
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really
I'm excited, and if I have to wake up early every morning to do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for it too.
Yeah.
So, I think to wrap things up, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Since we've been talking about families, we've been talking about, you know, like different relative type situations. When you think of home, what specifically do you think of now? When you think of the word home?
It's a hard one. I literally have lived in so many places.
Yeah.
And so home is not a physical location. I always wish I had like that childhood family home where like I grew up and like the walls reminded me of whatever. But I think what reminds me of home the most is honestly I have this tiger picture. It's been in my family forever. And when my mom died, I took it. My sisters were okay with me having it, and it's a huge, you can see it if you're watching YouTube, it's behind us on the wall there. It's huge. It's got like a mama and two white tigers up there. And so did I tell you about my old roommate and the wrapping?
Yeah.
My old roommate, such a sweet person, and she loves Christmas just like I do. She I came home from work one day and she had wrapped all of the art on the walls as Christmas presents, which was so cute and it was fun. because I used to like having my door wrapped as a present, like with the big bow,
Mhm.
and I'll probably do that again this year. But she wrapped that tiger painting, and I know it took her time to wrap it because it's big.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of like went into panic mode. I was like, I need to see it. I need to see it. And I think that's kind of when I realized that like no matter where I go, as long as that picture's with me, I will feel like home. So like home, I guess for me would be I'm a homebody. I don't like to go other places. So if I'm somewhere else, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think being around the right people and like having like that cozy house could be all right too. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with the tigers.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, so I was asking myself this question, and when I think of home, like my first initial, like say, okay, home, the first thing in my brain is my apartment with my 2 cats. Like that's what I think of when I think of like where I reside, like home, like that's home. But like when I think about like home as like a more sentimental type feeling, my mom still lives in my childhood home, so like that would be a good place for me.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily even like the building. It's not even like the walls. Like you said, it's like a person, and like or like a something. And mine, I don't know necessarily like what like home feels like, but it would probably be my mom. Only because like if you think about holidays, like I said before, I've missed many holidays due to like circumstances out of my control. And like what my mom's family, we're a small family. It was me and my mom growing up mainly, but she has 2 sisters, and we would all just FaceTime. Like we would do like a group FaceTime, and like it didn't matter what day it was. We would have like we would wait to open Christmas. They would wait to open Christmas presents till like December like 29th.
Oh my gosh.
Like they didn't give a fuck. They were just like, no, of course we'll wait. It's Christmas, and it wasn't the day. It wasn't where it was. It was literally like, we want to open presents with you guys. We're gonna wait. And my aunt has a young son, and so she did Christmas for him on the day of. But like, even they waited to open presents, like certain presents for the day of, and it's just like it's the people, like for sure. It's not the day. It's not the time. It's that's why like I want to pick the people that pick me. Type stuff.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps to have like a mom like person. So if I'm going somewhere and they have a mom that's like offering me cookies or something, or just like either honestly just giving me like that attention where you're like, you know how moms are.
Yeah.
Like that's a good. I think moms make a home. Yeah. Honestly, like.
I'm gonna make. My mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
Yes, mother, you better listen.
I'm making you listen to this one. I'm gonna sit you down.
Okay, the biggest shout out.
But yeah, I think I'd love like not in this one, but like in a different podcast, I'd love to talk about like like your best childhood traditions, like for Thanksgiving, Christmas, like all the holidays. Like I want to hear because it's so crazy how different people's holidays are.
Oh yeah.
Like for me, Christmas, you have to have orange rolls. It is not Christmas without orange rolls. And some people are like, what the fuck are orange rolls? And I'm like, they're cinnamon rolls, but they're better because it's orange. They're orange cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
And I have to have them.
So weird.
I have to have them. Like,
you know what'd be cool is if you guys sent us, like DM'd us on the Start to the Great podcast Instagram and told us your holiday traditions
and your best holiday stories. I want to hear the crazy ones.
The best ones, like the cool, funny ones, we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of the cute ones too.
That'd be really cool. I want your crazy ones. I want your funny ones. I want your cute ones. I want them all.
Yeah.
Blow us up.
Yeah.
I want that for sure.
I think that, it's fun to experience, like you were saying, like going to other people's houses. It's cool to see what other people do.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we really got on this topic. We're probably going to talk about this some more as the holidays go on because we'll probably be feeling the stress. We'll stay in touch after Thanksgiving and see how round 1 goes.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you'll kick ass this week and do some hard shit. And check out our Instagram page, Start to Be Great Podcast. My personal is Amuricana, AMURICANNA.
My personal is Kimmy.Croson, KIMMIE.CROSON. We will see you next Monday at 6 a.m. Why so early? Because we're fucking sharks, and sharks don't give a damn that it's Monday.